Hello, this is Shane and Morgan from ComX. Well, I'm from ComX, and Morgan's sort of from ComX. I've stuffed up the intro already. Tonight we've got Lucas and Brian from Freefall Comics. That we're going to talk about their comics like Roundhouse Hooligans and so forth, and about how they got into the industry. So let's get the show started. Thanks, Morgan.
Woohoo!
Still feels like it takes forever.
Hey
guys.
Welcome. I was just thinking we need a sound effect for that last bit where the cartoon faces come up because it needs.
Yeah,
like
we need something there. It's too silent. It feels like it takes forever.
We'll work on a doink.
It's a good intro.
So
good job.
Yeah. So how are you guys tonight?
We're good. We're video chats. We're good at these. We excel in these. These are our thing.
Yeah, we're
Awesome.
zero
nerves. This, yeah.
It's just like a meeting. Okay, so we have maybe because you don't have your names, I'll get you to put your hand up. So Lucas, if you would put your hand up, please.
That
there
one.
we go. Other hand. Yeah. That one. And Brian, if you could put your hand up, that would be. I mean, you're obviously the other one, so that makes sense. So. Lucas and Brian, first of all, welcome to the second kind of reboot podcast for the ComX Show. So let's get good evening. Let's get right into it. So why don't you tell us about a little bit about yourselves? What got you into the comic creation business, and then maybe a little bit about your partnership, if it's okay to call it that.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Brian,
Lucas,
I got it. Okay, me first. All right. Yeah. So I was always a storyteller. I love movies. I came from a movie background. I got a little bit into filmmaking, just like light filmmaking. Where I did some like fun films that were really bad when I look back at them now. And then like all the stories I was writing were like just too big for Australia. Like they needed studio budgets, and Australia just doesn't do those type of films. And then I know, like, with all the films that were getting made from comic books, I just felt like comic books was a good way to go to kind of break into that. But then once I started in comic books, I actually fell in love with comic books. I was like, no, this is actually cool. I'm happy to keep it as comic books. But if it gets picked up down the track, then, great. But I'm still, I found my love and passion in writing comics. And I had the freedom to do what I want. I had no rating system. As you might have known, we write a lot of adult content and stuff. And with that kind of stuff, you can't really get that through movies like you can with comics. I think comics rating system is a bit light, which sometimes it shouldn't be. But yeah, and then so I did that, and then I met Brian at a
comic book stall. I was working with a friend at a local market. We were selling old retro comics.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
and I came out to him, and we had that was back when I had an ex who was doing it with me, and we were trying to do a story, and I put a post and said, hey, can we promote this poster in your story? It's like, yeah, cool, do it. And then from there we met up, and he said, do you want to come over for drinks? I come over for drinks. He read some of my stories, like, dude, these are great. And then from there it kind of just like went off, and then I changed the business name to Freefall Comics at the same time. And then I said, do you want to come on Corona? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, obviously by then I went for a breakup, so she went out, he came in, and it worked out. Blessing in disguise.
So what he's saying is, basically, I was essentially a rebound.
Yeah.
What a beautiful, beautiful story.
It's a comic book in itself.
There you go. Yeah, well, maybe that's another project down the line to tell that story.
A Freefall Comics legacy.
Cool. Well, I'll throw a question at you. So how did Roundhouse Hooligans come about?
Roundhouse Hooligans?
Roadhouse, sorry.
Okay. I know you get mixed with the Roadhouse movie, which is a great movie, by the way, and then Roundhouse. Yep. So Yeah,
Sorry
so
about that.
Roundhouse Hooligans was actually started as a TV series. Even back before like we had Netflix and stuff like that. My backlight just went out. Yeah, so even before we had Netflix, and it kind of like just turned into a comic book the same way all my other stories did. And yeah, and then from there I was like, you know, just like it started off as like we had in production with another artist, and then yeah, I think like when I went through like a stage where like stuff needed to change, I was going through a massive life change, and I went back and rewrote it. I was like, you know, this could be a much deeper story and it could mean more. So I started, you know, the darkness I was going through kind of turned into Roundhouse Hooligans. I was like, you know, this, and it just changed and evolved into a more mature story. And I want to, you know, have more meaning behind it and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's how it kind of went. And then Brian's always been a part of it. He's always been there. So yeah, kind of like, I don't know the exact pinpoint where the story came from. Like most writers don't know where half their stories come from. They just appear. But yeah, it definitely evolved over time. I want to be more mature and be more meaningful and deeper. And yeah, have more levels to it pretty much. So yeah, which it has become.
A very cool story. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, very cool story.
Cool.
It is. It's really
this
cool.
could be a good segue for us to go into the preview for it. So I might just play that for everyone at home who's wondering what Roundhouse Hooligans is all about.
Roundhouse.
I said it right the first time.
Why
sorry. I'm correcting myself and I got it right. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry about me. I wonder why I got that in my head. Anyway, we'll play the video.
Cool.
Cool.
Nice.
And I'm an absolute idiot. I keep saying the wrong word. I do this with other people as well. We had a girl on called, I'm going to get it wrong now, Millie. I kept calling her Miley. So I'm classic at getting things wrong. So
that's what happens when your favorite music's Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, not quite. Funnily enough.
So question around where the idea came from. So am I right in saying, did I hear that it was originally a TV project or you had a script or something and then that was transformed into a comic script?
Yeah. So it was originally a TV series. I think I got like, how many scripts? I think there was 12 episodes in the script run that I did, each one going for half an hour long. I always thought it being an adult animated series. Like a mature animated series, that's what I wanted to be like. You know, Castlevania, that sort of thing. Arcane, which just came out, that would have been amazing. But yeah, so and then it just turned to a comic, and I think it works better as a comic. The writing works better as a comic. It's more it just excels as a comic, I think. Yeah.
And how did so first question is, how did you find going from that sort of script to a comic script? Because it seems like it's probably an easier thing to do than going from a novel. It
was easy, and at the same time it was hard. I realized that the fight scenes had to be shortened because when I turned straight into script form, I think it was like 20 pages of one fight scene, which is pretty much a whole issue if you think of it. So I really had to trim them down, and that was the hardest part. Trying to find how do I fit all this story into this small page. But over time, I guess I just adapted, and we both just adapted, and over time it just worked out well. But yeah, it was a learning curve, but I think now we've improved a lot more.
That's also a big part to Ricardo and his art style and his storytelling through like the way he draws. Like we even though we had to cut it down, I feel like you don't feel it. Like he's captured 20 pages in a couple of pages. Like the way he like draws movement and action is just amazing. Like for like some projects, like we're pretty particular on exactly how it's shot, angles, everything. With Ricardo, he just seemed to kind of get it from the get-go. He just seemed to understand it, and he brought something else, like another another element, another layer that even we couldn't see when we were writing it. Just massive. He's incredible.
That's always a good thing.
And also the main thing of looking for artists, we want an artist that could do good expression. It wasn't so much like body types, obviously, and anatomy is important, but we said, look, this is a drama-driven story. Not so much the first issue, but down the track, it gets very drama-driven. And we said we want someone who can create emotion, who can have close-ups on faces and make people cry if they need to. We needed that, and Ricardo's, he's shown that he can do that easily. Like, not easily. It's probably really hard for him. Yeah. But to us, it makes it look easy. So, yeah.
So we had a little bit more latitude once you'd sort of figured out his style, and it worked well with your writing and everything.
Yeah, I think once he started writing, we definitely adapted to his art style, and So, and also I do concepts, so I use 3D models in certain scenes where like I want them to be very detailed. I'll do 3D models. I'll create a scene in like Blender, 3D Blender, and I'll put the logo anatomy in, and I'll give it to him, so he has a complete breakdown of what the shots look like.
Wow.
Close up, over the shoulder. So I'm pretty much like, we're like both pretty much like directing it as he's creating it. So he gets a feel for, and then after a while he just goes, okay, I know what you want now. He pretty much knows we want to look cinematic. But yeah, so
that's really cool.
Right.
And we've got Darren Close saying, how about that lettering?
Yeah, Darren.
Nice. Yeah, so, Darren's great. The whole team is great, and they've been like, I'm sure we've annoyed them at times with like our learning curves and like not knowing what the hell we're doing half the time, but they've always been understanding and always helped us out along the way. So we're still new to the comic book industry, so yeah, we're still growing, we're still learning, which is great, and that's a part of the fun learning about comics as you're making them. So yeah,
absolutely.
Speaking of which, with Roundhouse Hooligans, is that your first comic or just the first one I've heard of?
That is go.
Well, it's the first one we're releasing. So when Lucas and I first met, we were working on another project. We had an amazing artist, but just due to, I guess,
time restraints,
other work he had going on, we had to pull back from that one, and there was so much already done with Roundhouse Hooligans. We decided to direct our energy that way into Roundhouse Hooligans and make that our
flagship,
our first published comic.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
One of the
we already had our next two projects in the firing line, so we do have two more projects. Next one is a psychological thriller, very dark and intense, which should come out early next year, hopefully. And there's not like just. And then
when you slowly dark,
that was all me. And then the third one's going to be a sci-fi, a post-apocalyptic sci-fi. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
It's good to be a writer, isn't it?
There we go.
You can do multiple projects.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed with the comic is you can tell when there's a lot of intent behind it and a lot of deliberation around exactly what's where and a lot of thought. And just hearing you talk about 3D modeling and that sort of stuff, which that's the first I've heard of someone going to that length to help.
We don't. Yeah, because they're all passion projects. Like we have like such a clear vision of what we want. I mean, we're
very fussy.
Our other projects, we've gone as far as taking photos for panels, like kind of recreating the panel with the photo, going, okay, this is going to be like 50 mil. We're shooting this way, like, and working out how people are going to fit within that panel and be natural. Like there's a lot of work that we do behind the scenes to make this come to life.
And it keeps us sane, so we're not just writing the whole time. We're actually, hey, we've written for 2 hours now. Let's go take some shots and do some 3D modeling and try actually create something and see what it's going to look like. Then we can test it, and then once we test it, go, okay, this page looks pretty good. Let's send it to the artist, and they can create a masterpiece out of what we've sent them. And
while we do writing, like we're both very visual. I mean, Lucas with his like cinema background. I'm a professional photographer, so we just have clear images. Like, you know, we can see it in our heads, and rather than sometimes trying to write that down and explain it to someone, we find it easier to be visual and create like a scene either through photos or through Lucas using like 3D modeling to just make sure that the artist is interpreting like a scene, a shot, a page exactly how, you know, we've written it in our heads.
Some scenes you can't use photos for because there is some adult scenes that we just don't have the power to just say it works. So that's why you use models.
You don't want to use stick figures or anything like that.
Even 3D models don't work. If you try to put a 3D model in like a pose you want, sometimes they go awkward and it can look wrong, like some twisted Kama Sutra. But yeah.
Okay, so obviously, cinematic background, photography background. What are some of your, and this isn't necessarily from the comics world, what are some of your key influences or directors, writers, whatever, that have really, you know, you've latched onto their style or they've helped you formulate your own vision?
Style. Writing wise and field wise, I definitely like Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino. Just like their like independent style, and the fact that they break rules. They know the rules and they still break the rules. I love that. They don't really care what the industry thinks. They kind of like go their own way and follow their own path and go, hey, I just want to tell an amazing story for my audience. You know, you can't change my mind on that, and they're very strict on that. You know, that's a thing. But they'll make fun projects on the side, just for the hell of it, and I love that about them. So yeah, they've always been my massive influence. And then obviously, you'd be going like Steven Spielberg. Like the first movie I remember seeing that made me want to be a storyteller was Jurassic Park as a kid. That I know for a fact that was the first movie I saw and I said, I want to tell stories for the rest of my life, being in film or any other genre. I just want to tell stories and be a storyteller and make people love my stories. That's what, I remember that. Yeah, Jurassic Park was definitely my biggest influence as a kid growing up, and I still love that movie now. So yeah.
Cool.
Right. And Brian?
I guess mine comes from like a love of books, love of horror. Like, so Stephen King, a massive influence. I've just always been a big reader, and just, I know it sounds really cliche and very generic, but just I love art, like on all mediums. Like, you know, like every few months you'll find me at the art gallery just staring at a photo, because I'm like, there's just, I don't know, there's so much that can be said from like a single still image if you do it right. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, I just love, I love creating a scene, creating a feeling, like using light, shadow, and there's just so much to be said for when a single shot, a single image, a single panel can just evoke so much emotion. And, you know, I mean, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's like a lot of work, you know, to get that. I guess horror background, just reading back, like just the novels I love, and just my love of art in general. Like,
and we definitely try to adapt that into every panel. Like, every panel to us is a story in its own. And we really try to push that. Where like there'll be small things in the background that will tell a story. Like, you know, people do like, you know, picking their fingers or anything like that. And those small details, as you see going on in time, they evolve. We try to push that in every single. Especially
what shows anxiety? Like, is someone's fist clenched? Are they fidgeting? Like, you know, all these little details. Like when you really stop to just kind of watch and analyze people and how they behave and how they move, and, you know, how you can, I guess, you know, show that, you know, in a still image. So, you know, I often find like there's so much power in insert panels between showing a scene of someone, but, you know, having this small insert to kind of, guess, evoke some sort of motion or something else going on within a single scene. So you can see like you can see the tension building, the anxiety, the uncomfort, like, are they uncomfortable? Like what's going on? Like,
especially with Torrance, our lead character, Roundhouse Hooligans, only because like it's a story that's full of more than one character. Like Roundhouse Hooligans is a group. So each character needs to be on their own person. We can't have every character the same. So Torrance obviously suffers from some anxiety, some PTSD, and we really try to show that. And then you've got her friends there who always comfort her through those times, who are always there for her, which what Roundhouse Hooligans are. It's about a family who don't care who each other is. They're accepting of each other. They love each other. And it's really about family and showing Torrance when she's at her lowest point. And then, you know, her braver friends come and comfort her through those hard times is really what creates a compelling friendship or, love story sort of thing. So, yeah, we try to push that in with Torrance. Was very challenging to write because she just got so many levels, but she's such a great character and so much fun to write. So, yeah.
And that kind of leads to one of the things I was going to ask around the protagonists, plural. Because obviously just from reading the comic, there's a lot of layers to each of them, and only certain aspects are shown in issue 1. So obviously you're hinting at things.
So my whole point of view then was I wanted somehow for Roundhouse Hooligans to be immersive. So I wanted the reader to feel like maybe they're a new member to the group. And when you become friends with someone, you don't actually see their whole backstory. Like, you know, you might see who they are, but you don't know what made them who they are. So over time, as you evolve with the characters and you spend more time with the characters, you'll go back in time and go, oh, okay, this is why they are who they are now. You know, all these backstories are parts and levels that have made them who they are today. You know, this is why they don't like this. This is why they always do this. You know, this is why they've got that hard-ass attitude when really deep down, you know, they might be a bit broken inside. But you know, if you're starting to be friends with someone, you don't always see that. So over time, you'll get to know each Roundhouse Hooligans, and I'm sure everyone can relate to one of them, at least one of them, in some way or another. We want to be relatable, and that was the most important part. With
we just kind of wrapped up a newer issue of Roundhouse Hooligans, and it's probably as out of 1 and 2, it's got the least amount of action, but like reading it, like I'm a fan of it. Like it's good. Like I'm enjoying like seeing it come to life, and it's the one with the least amount of action so far. That's my absolute favorite because I feel like I've gone through like a in the big scenario, like a bit of a small arc amongst the characters, and I'm really starting to feel at home reading them and understanding them. And this issue with very little action and just emotion, drama, and just these characters interacting, as so far it's been my favorite.
Yeah,
awesome. Now I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I mean, the more we write, the more layers are revealed, and the more you'll get to know. And yeah, we just hope people will jump on board and love it as much as we do, and stick around because there's so much more to be told. Like as the story and the characters evolve, it's really it's pretty amazing.
So more characters
going on, like it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. And I suppose one of the things to mention for those that aren't lucky enough to have seen it just yet is that there is a lot of emotional depth and drama, like right from the panel 1, but there's also a lot of action, and it does have. I mean, I wouldn't want to call it grindhouse, but it does have those kind of Tarantino-esque elements. Which is good. So if you're, because you know how if you're a reader and you want to get hooked early, it definitely has that. But you can see, there's a lot of depth going on.
So, I always saw it as like grindhouse, but being more drama driven, as in it's more grounded, it's more real, but it's still got that fun grindhouse feel. I think one of the reviews said it was drama punk. That was a genre, and like we went with that, and I've never heard it before. It just works.
Yeah, that's a new one to me as well.
Roundhouse Hooligans is drama punk, and that's the genre we're going with, and it works out well. So yeah,
awesome. Well, for anyone who is wanting to get a copy, the best place. I'm in the wrong. I do this every time. The best place to catch up to all the information about you guys is linktr.ee. So linktree at free_fall_comics.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching, that's a great place. That's a link tree. I don't know if you're familiar with Linktree or not out there, but it gives you a few important links to different areas to go to for these guys. So he'll show you where it's sold, more information about them, where to subscribe, stuff like that. So I'll just leave that up for a while so people can go over there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Okay, so next question, rapid fire.
Go.
You can pick one of the protagonists or a villainous kind of character. So if you're in a car with them going through McDonald's drive-through, what are they going to order? So tell us about the character. What meal would they order? Could be something else as well.
Villain. It can be a.
Oh yeah, villain would be great.
Well, villains haven't been really introduced too much yet.
You don't want to say too much yet.
Yeah, I don't want to
say too much. That's cool.
Stick with the Hooligans for now.
I'd stick with Torrance only because she's just my favorite. What would she get? She'd get the lot. She doesn't really care. She has like that attitude where, you know, she's not watching her diet. She doesn't have time for that. And she definitely would eat fast food. She's always on the go. She's a free runner. So she does a little parkour, whatever it's called. Yeah, parkour. Yeah, but she'd get the lot. Yeah, I don't eat much fast food, so I can't actually give you. You know, I'll go straight to Big Mac burger. She'd get that, large fries, and Coke. Yeah, she's very she doesn't really look after herself. She's a very messy person, I guess is the way to say it. But yeah, I guess it'd be Torrance, and that's what she'd get. Yeah, and I'd be happy to go to McDonald's with her. She'd be a great date. And yeah,
awesome answer. That's an awesome answer, man.
So next question, same person or same protagonist.
Yeah.
If you could sit down with the protagonist and give them one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
For Torrance, that's a hard one.
Maybe one of you pick a different character each. Yeah.
Brian, do you want to do this one?
Fuck. I'm like, we've created some real messy characters. I'm like,
too many good characters.
like honestly, I feel like if I tried to give Torrance advice, I'd get a backhand. Like I don't feel she's sort of
and she actually
that's an answer.
That would be that's how I interpret Torrance. It's like you can't tell her what to do, how to feel. She's too strong a character for that. As flawed as she is, as many problems as she has, I don't think I'd be the right person to talk to her.
She's had some bad life experiences, and that's what made her who she is. So yeah.
Got it.
Cool. Well, speaking of advice, I'm guessing as your first comic that you've produced, what have you learned and what lessons do you think you could pass on to other people looking to create comics?
It's
holy shit.
It's like riding through hell on a pedal bike while burning fire. It's hard work. It's
nice visual.
Yeah, very visual. It's hard work. It's challenging. Like, to be real, I'm always going to be a real person and tell it like it is. You know, you're going to fail a lot. I've failed a lot. I've spent money in places and I've lost a lot of money, but I don't regret it because to me it was a massive learning curve. But at the same time, through it all, I believe that you are going to grow as not as a creator, but as a person through this trial and error. And I think it's important to chase that dream because you will evolve over time and you'll become a better person for it. And, you know, life's always better when you have a purpose. And once you find that purpose, I believe life gets much easier and it makes more sense. And yeah, that's what I have. Yeah.
What would you
Brian,
say?
trying to get out of that one?
Oh, yeah.
Brian, you're next.
What's that?
We can see the mind wandering.
Yeah, look, we've definitely made a lot of silly financial mistakes. I don't want to. How do I do this without? I don't want to put anyone under the bus.
It's fine. Just
Look, we've all bought blood diamonds at one time or another. You know.
I think one thing we could have done earlier on was probably reach out to people with more experience. I think coming in so fresh, not knowing anything, and obviously you're full of confidence and bravado, and you're so, when you're writing something, obviously you love it. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. And sometimes that confidence, that self-confidence, can get in the way of making smart business decisions. And I think definitely, like, there's a great indie comic. There's so many great people out there you can reach out to and talk to. And so far, I've found them all really open. Like, they're so willing to give advice. So I think before you jump in the deep end, like we did, speak to people, learn from their mistakes, because they're usually happy to tell you where they fucked up, what they did wrong, what they wish they had done, and it might just put you, 3 steps ahead, of where you, of where you should be or where you could have been. That would definitely be it. Like, the more we've done this, the more artists and writers and just amazing people we've met. Just get as much information, reach out to as many people as you can, because it can't hurt. Sometimes you got to put your ego aside and go, like, maybe I have a great story, but I don't know the best way to get it out there. I don't know who to talk to. And so, I mean, talking to people like yourself, like other artists, there's just so many people out there willing to help you out, because it's such a tight-knit community, indie comics. Like, we're all essentially struggling. So
also be real with yourself, and be honest with yourself. If you have a story that's not working, don't put the money and invest in it. If you have a feeling that this is probably not going to sell, I'm not passionate about it, then don't invest in it. We were very passionate about it, and at the same time as being, even though we only put one published book, if an indie came to us, first time indie creator, and said, hey, how you do this, we would, we'd let them know the mistakes to make. We'd say, don't do what we did. It was a really stupid idea. Avoid that at all costs. And awesome. But at the same time, we have no regrets. We've learned so much over time, and we love what we do. It's been a struggle, but
have a well thought out plan before you dive in first.
At least a 5-year plan. That's the way.
I'm pretty sure we had like a 5-week plan, and it doesn't pan out.
and marketing, you're gonna hate it, but you're gonna have to market it. You're gonna have to be on video, like this sort of stuff. We hate it, but we're getting used to it. But you're gonna have to do things outside your comfort zone, and if you really want to do it, you have to get used to it. And it's going to be a big part of your life, putting yourself out there and being a face of your company. But if you truly believe in your company, then it shouldn't be an issue. It should be easy to talk about. But and don't be so hard on yourself.
Awesome. Great advice, guys.
Thanks.
And also, gin helps.
Helps a lot.
Nice.
So we've got a couple of writers on, which is quite rare. We're usually with artists or creators that are artists and writers. Actually, we've got a full board of dudes that can't draw tonight from
our family.
So I suppose good to ask a question specifically writing related. What is the most challenging thing you find as a writer? I know you guys do a lot of other stuff as well, but just on the writing front, what's the hardest thing that you struggle with, or find hard?
Can I jump in, Lucas? Can I jump in?
I know what you're going to say.
I think when you start really going pretty deep, heavy into certain themes, it can be. I've learned it can be quite taxing on you emotionally. We had a writing session. It was a little while ago now, but we've been sitting there like trying to get through a scene for hours, and it just got to the point where we were like, can we go for a walk? I need to get out of this space, because I'm really getting depressed right now. Like, what we're writing about is pretty shit. But like I know the story needs to be told, but at the same time, I feel like we're kind of carrying a lot of weight right now, and we kind of need to remove ourselves from this for a bit, and let's just go for a walk. And literally, like, we went for a fucking walk around the block just to clear our heads. And I've found, some things can be quite taxing, like especially when you really care about it, like when it isn't so much, some sort of, I guess, some cliche superhero thing when you're trying to, and I guess a lot of the stuff we're drawing from, from ourselves and our past, and things we've gone through, and whether or not we're using the same names, like we know what we're writing about, we know who we're writing about, we know where it's coming from, and there's definitely been times there where, like, after a great session, we've wrote a great story and just feeling so drained. So like but at the same time, I feel like that's, we know we're doing something right when it's taking that much out of us to put pen to paper.
Makes sense.
And
we really go a long way, put our all into our stories. Even if it like affects us, I believe if a story affects you, then you're telling a good story, and I think that story needs to be told. It's definitely a good outlet. Writing has always been a good outlet for me personally. Whenever I've been down, I've always been writing my ideas down, even though they're crap stories. I just write them down, and eventually they evolve into my own books. So what Brian said is totally right. Also for me, I'm super dyslexic, so grammar, spelling. Yeah, Brian can tell you how bad that is. So bad.
I'm the same.
Yeah. So, for me, that's always been an issue. Even growing up in school, I've always been super dyslexic, unable to learn, unable to focus. Just basic grammar and spelling, something that some people find very easy, I find very difficult. But I believe my good ideas make up for it. I think that's a very big head thing to say, but yeah.
Well, it worked out well. It's a great
like to describe Lucas, like it would be he is an ideas factory. Like he's never short of ideas. He just, sometimes he needs someone to help refine those ideas into something. Yeah, but it's
hence the partnership, which is good. I mean, that's
well.
another thing.
It's
a lot of writers write alone, or occasionally collaborate or whatnot. But the dynamic between you two seems really interesting because you're working on it together, you're agonizing on it together, and you both sort of share, from what I can see, a similar sort of visual sort of sensibility, but bring different things to the table. And
we're always super honest with each other, which I think helps. Like if I have a scene idea and Brian doesn't like it, he'll tell me. He said that scene sounds stupid, don't do it. And I'm open to those suggestions. Like I'll be hurt at the first, like, dude, I thought in this, but in the end, it's like, yeah, you're right. It sounds really crap, and we'll take that out. But
started because when you approached me with that script, and you asked for some honest feedback, because at the time, like, you can get stuck in a bit of an echo chamber with friends where they're all like, it's great, it's awesome, and that's not necessarily helping you be better, write better, or tell your story. And so I remember I had my little yellow sticky notes, and I was going through a script and just like, you started the waffle on here, you lost me here, this was great, this was awesome, here's my idea for how I do this. And it was kind of through those back and forths over a couple of weeks at my place, and like a shitload of red wine, that like we kind of realized we're working really well together and kind of rewriting this incredible story, to where Lucas, eventually approached me and said, hey, like, how do you feel about coming on board, like, full time and joining me, like, with 3-4 Comics? And I just think you need to surround yourself with people who will be brutally honest sometimes.
Yeah, and there's that thing about, particularly if you're going to be a writer, I've heard it said it's like being a boxer. You don't get in the, if you get in the ring, you're going to get hit. That's the thing. You're going to get knocked back sometimes by people that you admire, sometimes by people that you don't admire. Yeah. But that's part of the deal.
process.
We're really lucky. Like I'd say 99% of the time, like we seem to have this clear vision, which just seems to align where we're like, that's amazing. That's amazing. But there is a small percentage of times where it's like, you know, one of us will be like, I don't think so. I don't think that's right. I think we should do this. And, you know, sometimes, you know, your ego immediately jumps in and goes like, oh, no, you're wrong. I'm right. But yet you've got to be able to take those hits and
it's a game where you really need to let go of your ego in as a writer or as any sort of creator. You need to let go of your ego because your ego is going to get hurt if you have a big ego, and you know you're not going to be able to take criticism if you have a toxic ego. Like that's how I feel anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and I have to agree with Darren Close on this one. It is an awesome comic. The art is stellar, but so is the writing, I must admit. I really love the story, and it's really got me hanging out for issue 2, which brings me to my next question. How long do we need to wait for issue 2?
So we have so issue 2 part 2 is actually out already on our Gumroad. Issue 2 part 1, sorry. It is out already on our Gumroad for a bit cheaper. We did that because one of our artists had to take a break in between a long break for their own personal reasons. But we didn't want our readers to wait so long, so we did put out half an issue, which is still an issue in its own. Like, you know, it's still an engaging story. It's still a great story.
Still 25 odd pages. So
25 pages long, yeah. I think it's about 22 pages long. And then the second one, we're hoping to push it out by the end of the year. And that will be a whole issue, which will be a bit longer. I think issue 2 might be maybe 34 pages long as a digital issue, so it's going to be a bigger package. The only reason why is because when I wrote them, I went on a tangent and I just wrote too much of issue 2. There was just so much story to pack into it. I was like, I can't do this in just 24 pages because towards the end of issue 2, which together issue 1, issue 2 will be volume 1. It'll be a whole book in itself. Think of it as like a pilot episode for a TV series. That's what it's going to be. But yeah, there's a lot of story that happens in issue 2, and it really goes deeper into Torrance's mental issues, mental problems. Cool. So in issue 2, you'll definitely get a feel for it. And once together, you go, okay, this is what she's, you know, this is what she's trying to work through. This is what problems are holding her back from being happy. But yeah, so yeah.
Right.
So while I'm on sorry.
Oh, you go.
And all I was going to ask is do you plan to actually publish these physical?
We're already setting up a Kickstarter now. So we will be going to print next year. It's actually being formatted by the amazing Darren again, because he's great. So he's going to be formatting it. But yeah, nice. It will be a hard copy next year, and we'll be doing a Kickstarter campaign for that.
Look forward to that. I'll be all over that one.
We've already invested so much money to it, and we can't afford printing.
No, that's fair enough.
And we actually want to invest in other stories. Like Roundhouse Hooligans want to keep on going, but we have other stories that we do want to tell. So we want to put our investment into other stories and bring them out and create a free full comics empire.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of gifts and things, I think it's that time in the show where we present you with a gift. You're looking at me like you're not at all.
No, I thought we had one question that we're going to always ask. Maybe I got it wrong.
No!
Before we give the gift,
I think you should ask that question because I forgot.
Yep, I'll ask it. Okay, we'll get an answer from each of you. What is your favorite food to eat to your favorite movie?
That's right.
Whoa.
You're right.
I'll go straight away. I fucking love popcorn. Honestly, I consider it a food group. I've literally gone up to the cinema just to buy a box of popcorn to walk around while I shop. I can't help myself. Salt and butter. I'm you got me.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
Cool. And just to expand on that a little, what movie would you be watching with that popcorn?
Oh my god. There's just
it's the first one you said.
Man, that's it. I can't even think. Like, there's too many things. It's like it all depends on how I'm feeling, what I'm going through. Like,
you're in, yeah,
true.
Like, no, like I think of like my favorite early movies were like I used to love Japanese cinema, like their detective stories, because like watching Hollywood, it always seemed like there was everything just fell into such a mold, like do this, do this, do this, do this. And when I started like watching like especially some Japanese detective, I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I just remember sometimes there being like unhappy endings. It's like, right, the movie's ended, but you know, it's like not everything's just it hasn't all come together, you know, peachy cream smooth for everyone. It's, you know, like everyone's still come out a little bit kind of damaged from it. And I've just always I don't know,
Russ is a bit confused.
I'm a little bit of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed goth guy, but like I've just always appreciated that, like that sometimes things don't always work out for the best. And you know, I feel like we might use some of that in our writing, the way we write. Like there's no life doesn't always have some Hollywood ending.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I definitely picked that up like from foreign, like especially like the Japanese detectives like movies I used to watch growing up. Like it was just I don't know. As a teen, I was like moved by it, I guess.
Yeah. But, for me, my favorite dish has always been ravioli. Something you probably wouldn't bring to a cinema, but I love ravioli. I'd bring a homemade dish to the cinema. I'd be happy with that. Movie-wise, yeah, well, it's not the same thing. I'd go Jurassic Park, or Aliens.
Of course.
Second Aliens.
Ripley.
Nice.
Yeah, Ripley. Where I love Ripley. I love a strong female character, and they are true strong female characters. Ripley, Sarah Connor, they're the kind of female characters we relate to and what we write about. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Popcorn and ravioli.
Popcorn.
Awesome answer. And I'm just going to answer Rusty on this one. The campaign hasn't started yet, so I don't think there's a link. Have you got a pre-launch page?
No pre-launch page yet. That won't
not just yet. Yeah. So Rusty, there's no pre-launch page just yet. We had a question in the viewers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No pre-launch page yet.
Cool.
Yeah. Just jump on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and that's where you'll be the first to know there. But
yeah, go to this link down here and get the different links to the different areas, and you'll be able to follow them.
So
this is the part.
The gift portion. Thanks, Sizzle. Yeah, I completely forgot about the question that we said we were going to ask every time. So as part of this experience, we like to draw something for you. So usually the rules are, we have 10 minutes. We have to just sketch it, get it done. No real preparation. We sign it, of course, because our signatures are worth so much. And then we give that to you as our guest. So you get a signed copy of images of one of your characters from your story. We've had a little bit of a change this time because Sizzle's got an arm.
My right hand's a bit out of action.
Yeah, and I frankly cheated this week because I thought, why not? So mine was more of a, you can see if you can tell, it's more of a trace than a freehand
drawing. Bring it up?
Yeah, bring it up. So anyway, this is my effort.
Fuck, that's tidy.
Let's love it. Love it. You're hired.
Yeah, again, tracing. That was not me drawing freehand at all, because you can actually recognize the character.
I've traced many times in my life. There's nothing wrong with it.
And I've got
as long as you've traced it.
Because I can't draw, because I had this procedure on Monday, I actually asked Spedsy, Rob Lyle, to do a drawing for me as my little cheat.
Completely unfair, hence the reason why
totally unfair. Professional artist. So I'll just bring up the one I'll be sending from him.
I love that. That's cool.
That's not fair at all.
It's not fair at all.
You definitely cheated.
I'll be back next week.
You both cheated, so you're both in the same boat. One of you traced, the other one got a professional artist do the picture. So You know.
That's it. That's it.
They're awesome. Thank you so much. They're unreal. Yeah, it's great. We'll have to do the same thing in return for you guys. Next time we'll draw. Next time we'll have to draw you guys.
We'll bring up a character of our choice or something, you know, because that's been enough of this business.
Okay.
We've already
we'll try you into a character. Right. There we go. We can't do that good, so don't show that.
Well, we might also employ our professional.
We'll find a Facebook image and we'll just trace it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, just so everyone knows what they're looking for, here's a cover of Roundhouse Hooligans. And so, yeah, this is available, I think, on your site, is it? Is it your site?
On a Gumroad site, so I have Gumroad account.
Gumroad site, yeah. It's also available at ComX.shop.
Yep.
I sent a few links out earlier today about that. And, we got Isaac George just came in. Thanks. Just coming in at the end. Nice one, Isaac.
Hello, Isaac.
So, yeah, thanks very much, guys. I'll email you those pictures. And,
awesome.
It was an absolute pleasure having you on. Great answers. I must admit, I was better answers than I was expecting for some of the silly questions I had.
Ravioli.
That's an awesome answer. That's great. That's so unexpected.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, you got a fan here. Great first issue, great first comic. I agree. It is great. So I really recommend people going and picking that up.
It just gets better from here. Trust me. Roundhouse Hooligans is a good, compelling story, and you know, we truly think fans are going to fall in love with it if they're not on it already. There's a character for everyone to relate to, and as the character evolves, I promise you will cry, you will smile, you'll be afraid, you might be in shock, but you know, it's a roller coaster ride, and they're the best kind of stories, the ones that you don't know what's coming next.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's, I guess, the end of the interview part of this show, and we'll move on to the next part. It was great having you guys on, Brian and Lucas.
Great being here.
Thank you very much. I'll send out a link to everyone as well, to all the platforms that I have access to through this software, so that people can just click on them. I'll type that in right now. I should have copied and pasted this from somewhere, but I'm not that organized.
Let's enjoy watching Sizzle multitask.
Multitask, yes. So I'll just send that link out to everyone, so it's a little easier to get to your link tree, so they can find all the things about you. So thanks for coming on. It was a real pleasure. We'll have to get you on again when you get your Kickstarter up and running. That'd be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Awesome.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm sure you got better things to do on your night than watching us.
Hell no. This is the best thing to be doing.
Thanks everyone.
I'll get into the right window, and I shall say see you later all. See you guys. We're not all, just see you to you guys. Sorry about that. I'm really bad at tech stuff.
All good.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Like a well-oiled machine, all right. Rusty well-oiled machine. Okay, let's go to the next section. Thanks, guys. See you later. And
thanks
to see you at the Kickstarter.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Well, Morgan, I've been really slack. All I reread Roundhouse Hooligans. Just reminding myself the damn name right. So I will show the cover if I can find the right pic. So this is what I read today, actually. I reread it today and forgot how much I love the story. It's great. The start is just action-packed, and then it just jumps into a great story. I'm not very good at describing these things, so I'm not a writer, I'm not an analyst or anything of technical things. All I can say is I walked away from this wanting issue 2 really bad, because I really want to see what happens next. I really want to see what happens to your main characters, and just, yeah.
Yeah,
I just
agreed.
that's why I asked the guys when's 2 coming out, because I really wanted to know personally.
Really,
I'll
yeah.
just show
really
a little bit of the interior art,
Ooh.
just so you can see what was going on.
Yeah,
So that's that cool scene
good.
at the beginning. I'll just flash through these so you have to actually go out and get it to read it. That's where the guns get into it, and bang, bang, bang.
So
Now go out and get it, people. Awesome story. I can't wait to get the physical issue so I can hold it in my hand as well. So that'd be great. Morgan.
Sweet. All right, on to me.
Sweet.
So
Morgan.
Tonight I have the
I'll boost you up.
Complex by Daniel Reed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I actually got this was a Kickstarter that he ran a little while ago. So it's issue 1, issue 2. The artwork is amazing.
Yeah, it
the
is.
story is hang on, I'll show you some of the artwork. God, I'm no good at this.
It can't be worse than me.
Oh, I probably am. Wow. Look at the.
I've been doing this for 6 months and I still can't get the buttons right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So look, the artwork is stellar. The story is really, really, really cool. It's right down my particular alley because it very quickly goes weird, which is amazing. Lots of action, really cool kind of sci-fi ideas. A little bit of time travel, a little bit of one of the things I really like about these is that one of the protagonists, or maybe the protagonist, that it's one of the few issues or stories that I've seen where the protagonist is just a horrible, horrible, horrible individual, at least in the in the early stages of the comic.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really good hook because it's it's not the usual sort of thing, and you find yourself thinking, what's going to happen? Because I don't like this guy, but really, really cool ideas. Again, some of the artwork is just absolutely amazing, and even just like the chapter headings and things, they're just so nice. It's so well put together. Really, really beautiful books. And the story is great. So I'm through 2 issues. Can't wait for the next section of the story. Really, really cool. Daniel Reed, awesome guy, awesome artwork, fantastic. I've actually, for one of my projects, he's done a cover for me, and it just looks absolutely amazing. So really cool. He is. He absolutely is. He's amazing. Really, really cool stuff. So go out and do yourself a favor. Get some.
Yes, I've got them both. So I'll probably forget that you've done it, and later on I'll review them as well.
Woo! There you go.
Cool. Well, I think that's the end of the show. Thank you all for watching, and thank you again to Brian and Lucas for coming on and chatting with us. That was great. Learning more about Roundhouse Hooligans and about Freefall Comics as well. So, real pleasure. And so go out, get their comic, go out.
Sizzle,
I will re-show their ad or your ad?
Re-show their thing. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'll show their ad for the Roundhouse again.
Nice.
And just a reminder, you can get them from their store, but you can also get it from ComX.shop. See that? They snuck in right at the end of that ad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, thank you again, Morgan. I guess this is the time of night when we get to say see you next week. See everyone next week. Anyone watching, we've also got the drink and draws on Fridays. Don't forget about them. and we're restarting CCC. Oh, hang on, I always do too many C's. CCCX on Saturday mornings with Lee Chalker and Dustin Brunel. Yeah. I always forget how to pronounce his last name. So, thanks, Rusty. You have a good one too.
Thanks all. Have a good one.
Time to find the right button, and away we go. See you all. Have a good night.